Hello everyone, Greg Diamond here, editor of 10 Stock Trader at Stansberry Research with another Diamonds Ed video. And this week we're going to look at some good charts and bad charts. We saw a lot of volatility erupt last week. And so I kind of want to go through, what I like to do when that happens and kind of get a gauge for what's likely to happen next. So this is a chart, a weekly chart of XLK. This lines up with the NASDAQ 100. And what I like to do is I like to look at these weekly charts because it kind of keeps things simple. It kind of keeps you rational in terms of, the longer trend. All right. And this is pretty simple. And that's kind of the point. I just wanted to be simple and not, get into the daily fluctuations and the minute by minute, huge moves that we saw. We did see some big moves last week, some wild swings. And that can kind of get you to be emotional. And I'm going to point out, how this can kind of calm those emotions down and just look at the bigger picture. All right. So you can see here we have, this is going all the way back to 2022, and we just have this little uptrend, not in a perfect line or a straight line higher. We have these, corrections, and I believe most stocks will have this correction, okay? And we have this into last week, and you can see here with these red circles and blue lines that I've marked a positive RSI reversal. This is a bullish setup where two lows on price are rallying or making an upward slope, while the same 2 points on the RSI making a downward slope. All right, this is what's known as a positive RSI reversal. It means at least expect some type of a rally. Doesn't mean it's going to make a new high, but it's not something that you really want to short. And again, you can see down here, I'll zoom in here, that this just held a nice steady uptrend. There's nothing too sophisticated about that. Okay, now let's look within XLK, within the NASDAQ. All right, and then we'll look at Microsoft doing the same exact thing. All right, again, this is a really nice chart. Showing a trending channel within support resistance within Microsoft, again going back to 2022, and once again this held the uptrend, and this could still, let's say this week, we have earnings. Microsoft reports earnings. The central bank makes their announcement at the end of this month. And it is the end of the month, right? So we can have some, I'm not saying it's going to be another straight line high. We can have some more volatility, but as long as this uptrend holds and this price here, or let's say this price here, so a low of 404.51, right? As long as that holds, okay, let's say we have another big drop and it drops down to 415 or 410, this positive RSI is still in play, okay? Now, if this were to start breaking down below that, that's a big problem, at least for the bulls now. So, then this would probably mean that the end of the rally is complete. So what do I mean by that? Now, this is, again, I don't see this as a high probability, but I'm going over scenarios of what might happen. Okay, so let's say I'm wrong and we see something like this, right? Okay, and then, maybe we bounce back up here into August, September, and then things might start to get ugly, right? I'm not expecting that right now. What I'm expecting on Microsoft, probably in the NASDAQ, is we will see a new high attempted, okay? So call it 470-ish around Microsoft, all right? Now, those are the two good charts that I outlined to subscribers on Monday morning. So let's look at some bad charts. And within that, I'm looking at the semiconductor sector. Now, the overall sector, especially led by NVIDIA, looks pretty good, okay? But this is Micron, all right? And you can see here on the weekly chart, we've had these just huge move down. I'm going to go into the daily chart of this just to show you real quick, what I'm looking at. So, if you remember what I just outlined in terms of XLK and Microsoft, look how Micron has broken down below this trend, okay? It's down over 30% from the high. That was back on June 20th, which was indeed a GAN time factor. Okay, so the other thing, I received a message from a subscriber last week. How come you don't go back and look at these GAN time factors on Otherwise, they're useless. That, I don't agree with that at all. They're very useful. Okay. I point them out, and then it's like, hey, I'm either going to take profit into this time factor, or it's not something that I want to do. I want to be patient, or I want to get aggressive and buy or sell short, right? So there's different scenarios you have to look at within these time factors. But around 620 was one that I had mentioned in June. Obviously, this worked out in Microsoft or at Micron, excuse me. And then the latest one, excuse me, was into July 11th. July 12th to July 19th. Well, look what Micron did, right? This was July 11th, 12th, 13th, and then boom, we had this, or 15th, excuse me, and that, resulted in this huge move down. So you can see how these inflection points play out. They're absolutely useful. In fact, it is the most important part of my trading strategy, is understanding the importance of time. I wanted to point that out because I think that's very actually important, and that subscriber kind of has things backwards. I look in terms of what I'm going to do with it, and then then move forward to what's going to happen next. Yeah, we have another set of time factors that I think are important. I think we're looking at a low here probably this week, if not, it already occurred last week, based upon the weekly stuff that I just outlined. And then the next inflection point, I'll get into that when it comes. I've already mentioned that to all of my subscribers. So that I'll be gearing up trades for what that might look like, but that's getting ahead of ourselves. So right now I'm looking in terms of, okay, what was good, what was bad, in the June and then July time factors, and then what comes next. All right. Let's also look at advanced micro devices. And this is just not a bullish setup, okay? So you can see here, this top back on March 8th, and then what I have here is what appears to be this could be really bad. So we have this lower high, all right, and then it just made a new swing low. Now, yes, you can see here on RSI, it's oversold. So what does that mean? It means we could probably, assume I'm right here for a second, okay, that we're looking at a low this week, or that's already in place. So maybe something like this, all right? And then we get a bounce, up into mid-August, somewhere around there. If this can't make a new high with the general, especially in NVIDIA, Taiwan Semiconductors, this SMH or SOX, whatever you like to look at in general, then you could be looking at something like this. Well, what does that mean from the bigger picture? You see here, I have this ABC. What this could really mean is something that, what am I looking at here? Here we go. So this could be an even bigger A. And this is something that I'm thinking about in terms of the longer term trend. All right. And I won't type all this out, but basically this is an A, B, a big B up here. Okay. And then we get into it. So A, B, and then a huge C. So the worst case would be something like this, right? All right, so I'll zoom this out. So A, B, C, B was what this recent top here. And again, look at this July 12th to July 19th time factor. It marked an important swing high, and then boom, you had this huge drop in AMD. Now, SMH doesn't look the exact same. NVIDIA doesn't look the exact same. This looks like a correction. You have to take into account the RSI is oversold. So again, we could see something like this, and then things get really hairy into around the election. All right. So these are some of the things that I'm putting together, good charts, bad charts, and, how this market is going to proceed into the late summer months and then into the election. So to me, it's going to be volatile no matter what happens, but I'm looking to take advantage of the good charts, staying away from the bad charts, but also understanding when the bad charts and good charts start to line up. And I'll get into that, probably over the next month or two, what that means in terms of the overall market. All right. Thank you very much. I'll see you next week.